into something you want them to be.
Yeah.
And, I think being a younger, more naive person, I thought like, oh, I can just create this great art and like everything will work out and people will realize it. And so I think I pushed a little too hard. And also, I think, forming a band with friends is great and all, but I think really like good bands are formed through like common goals, for a future and to be in the music industry. So, I had a lot of fun with it. I think we made some good music, but yeah, I mean, I'm much more comfortable right now, because I feel like I've got a strong vision for what I want my music to sound like, and at the end of the day, it's probably not fair and not a good idea to try and like force that on other people.
Sure.
So
starting a band in general is just really difficult because you got to have the different moving pieces and keeping it together is I mean, I've been a part of maybe like 9 bands now in Atlanta, and it's kind of one after the other. Somebody somewhere is they can't do it anymore, or they don't.
That was another thing. Like everything's fun like right at the beginning.
Sure.
You get that rush,
Exciting.
but like, and I think I didn't realize like the longer you do music, the more you realize how long it actually takes, like how long a process it is.
Yeah.
Like you're not going to blow up. I feel like that's almost a myth, like maybe 1 in a million.
Yeah.
But chances are if you're going to be successful, it's going to be years and years of slogging. And, everyone just has a different timetable, different goals. And, yeah, I guess that's, kind of the story.
Do you miss it at all? Do you like...
No.
No?
I mean, I guess the one thing I miss is like having people like when I write a song to be like, do you guys like this?
Right.
Yeah,
that collaboration.
It's so hard to, and like I still have friends I can show songs and stuff, but it's different when like they're going to be creating it
right
with you.
Yeah.
Because like if you show a friend a song, like they're probably not going to be like, oh, that's actually not very good.
Right.
But if you show your bandmates a song, they're like, no, I will not play this.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So I think that instant feedback, that's part I miss. And like just having like the same group on stage every night, now it's going to be a process of, mixing and matching for a while just based on who's available until I can find like a really solid group again.
Yeah.
But no, I think I definitely made the right decision.
Sweet.
For me.
Yeah, and the music reflects like this is you, and we get to hear kind of like the raw without any extra stuff going on.
And these songs just kind of had to come out. I got to a point where I just had to record them, had to give them the light of day.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the album.
Yeah, please.
We'll get into the album. And
yep.
So what do you want listeners to learn from this album for you? Like, what is it that you're, I guess, getting at when writing this album?
I've been thinking a lot about that and just finding the why of the album,
Yeah.
What do I want them to get out of it? Hopefully, like you said, it could be some of those songs that kind of like speak to their souls, make them feel better about their life.
Yeah.
I wanted to just be as honest as possible. I think the reason I'm struggling with this question is because I didn't like write it for anyone else.
Okay.
I hope people enjoy it, and I'm going to do my best to share it with them. And I feel like I spoke about universal things that people can connect with.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess I hope that they, learn more about me and they connect with me, and the things I struggle with are things they struggle with. But, I didn't write it with that goal in mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
And maybe without giving away too much information, what is your favorite song on the album?
What is my favorite song on the album?
Can I tell you mine?
No. Let me answer first.
All right.
Because I don't want that to influence my answer.
Sure. Okay. That's fine.
I feel like every song has been my favorite song at one point.
Okay. That's fun.
And that's like why I put it on the album. But listening back, I'm gonna say "Waiting on Time."
Okay. Yeah.
I feel like that was the most kind of my best imagery and lyrics. Almost it's not psychedelic, but the most like kind of metaphorical lyrics. I love the lyrics. I also, I feel like there were a few lines in there that I really liked. I love the strings we ended up getting on it. Like,
okay.
I feel like I could, like, to me it's so Mazzy Star like.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
I feel like a lot of times I try and write like the hit, and it's like it's got to be fast and it's got to have a great hook, and I got to yell into the microphone. And that song, I just like and I have to have like all these chord changes.
Okay.
And with that song, I just kind of like laid back and just like kept strumming and kept singing. That it's funny, most of the songs on the album I made full demos. I tried to produce myself.
Yeah.
And so, like, I had an idea of what I wanted the drums to sound like. I had an idea of what I wanted the guitar and the bass parts to be. And that one, I didn't even think would make the album. Like, it used to be a song called Broken's Better Than Nothing that was one of the first songs I ever wrote. And, like, the chord progression's the same, but the melodies are all different. And so, like, it kind of snuck up on me. And I just kind of on a whim made a acoustic guitar and vocals demo for the producer I worked with.
Yeah.
And sent it to him, and we ended up deciding to put it on the album. So that one like surprised me the most. Like I had no idea what that song would sound like as a full band, whereas I had kind of a vision for the rest of them. So to me, that's the most new and the most interesting one to listen to for me.
Okay. I think for me, Double Exposure is like my
I've
favorite.
gotten that. That's probably the one I hear most.
Okay.
Yeah,
no, for me it's the swell. I'm a big against the emotion or whatever. So you start off with this kind of like Weezer-esque like intro, or at least for me that's what I got out of it, and then it goes really hard, bro, and I really like that emotion that comes in. And then throughout the album too, you've got horns and you said strings earlier, so just the incorporation of all kinds of different like instruments that you don't normally hear.
I feel, to me, there are like two types of song on this album. It's either like the 60s singer-songwriter horns type, or it's like 90s kind of grunge, and that has, not grunge, but like 90s like singer-songwriter, with like so I feel like it's like string songs and horn songs, even though some songs don't have either on them.
Right.
But like it's like 5/5 down the middle, like darker, lighter, and so I think that's kind of cool. But yeah, Double Exposure, that song, it like sounds so intense. You're right, and I'm like screaming. Like that's probably my like loudest, like screaming chorus. But I literally just during COVID met this girl on Hinge. She was up in Chattanooga, but like it was in COVID, so like you weren't meeting anyone anywhere else.
Right.
And like I literally drove all the way up to Chattanooga because like we like video chatted and stuff, and we seemed like we liked each other. And then I drove all the way up there, and like it just wasn't there.
Wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like, damn, that's a long drive for that.
Sure thing.
But like she was super into photography, and she talked about how she loved double exposure medium frame photography, and like showed me some. And so like in the moment I was like, oh, that'd be such a cool song title. Like, I love that. And then I drove back, and I'm such a loser. She asked me to bring my guitar, and I brought it, and I played her some songs. And I can't believe I'm going to say this into a microphone. It's only because I've had a few beers. But one of them was Yellow by Coldplay.
Oh,
and
no.
So I know, right? It's disgusting. I hate myself. But it has that tuning where the high E string is a half step down.
Okay.
So like playing open chords sounds really good. And I just got back and started strumming. And like that, the whole like verse chorus just like came out. So it's not that serious of a concept, but like it sounds so self-serious, but the actual story behind it isn't. But that's just what came out. I can't change that.
No, you can't. You can't. And the way that stuff comes to you is so organic too. I feel like, because for me when I'm writing stuff, because I try to write every once in a while, like I try my hand at it, but if you try to force it, you sit down and try and like force something to come out on the page, like it just doesn't work.
Yeah, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, so like that kind of organic kind of thing is really cool. That's really dope, man. Are there any like messages or songs that gave you maybe the most headache to try and write?
I remember when the first one was like, so that song started when I was back at Georgia. So that song at least like 5 years old. You know, I think I had that chorus like maybe 5 years ago.
Wow, okay.
And like for the longest time I was just trying to write it about a girl or something, you know, like cuz like when you're starting out you're like, "Oh, got to write about breakups and stuff," you know?
We all know.
And I feel like that song was always about my dad, but it was so hard to actually write those lyrics, to actually like face that. And to, because like writing a song is so hard because you have to dig so deep inside yourself, and that was just a place I didn't want to go for so long. So like I've probably written like 50 plus different verses, maybe even more, with like 3 different verse melodies for that song.
Yeah.
Because like I kept going back and forth, and I kept being like, oh, like I think it's about my dad, and like trying to write it, and then be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll write it about made up girl.
Yeah, trial and
error. Then like trying to do that, yeah. So yeah, I took a songwriting class while I was at Georgia, and we had to perform, and I had that song, and so I performed it at Hindershots in Athens.
Okay, yeah.
But it was like about just like a non-existent girl, you know, and so those lyrics, like it wasn't it, and so I scrapped it for a long time. But I was always like, this chorus is so good, like it's so universal, it's so meaningful, and so I'd always sing it. When I'd pick up an acoustic guitar, I'd still play it, and then, you know, it was just learning how to be artistically honest enough to, you know, write the truth. But yeah, that gave me years of trouble. And I knew the chorus was so good, but, you know, I just had to wait until I was a good enough songwriter to make the rest of the song work.
And that's that's a tough wait, dude, because I'll tell you what, like, and it's good that you stash it away, you keep it, because, you know, the stuff that I used to write way back in the day, and, you know, you lose it and like it's gone, you know what I'm saying? Or like you come up with a riff or whatever in the shower, or you're just kind of walking and something kind of pops into your head, and if you don't write it down, like it's gone forever. So to be able to like hold on to it and say like, okay, like it's very
but I feel like that the ones that stay with you are the good ones, though. You know, like I feel like for so much of like what humans do, like as rational as we try to be, like time is really the only test of value.
I don't know if I agree with that though, because the good ones are good, and like, but if you, maybe it's just my brain too. Okay. Like if I think something's good and I don't write it down, like I still will forget. Okay. Like, and maybe it's because it's not actually that good. I don't know.
Well, I think, no, you're right. Like you have to like make a voice memo or something just to be safe. Yeah. But I think the good ones are like the ones, you know, you have that voice memo, but you don't have to listen to it.
Roger that.
You know?
Okay, yeah. I feel you.
Like, I've been recently, like, really making a habit of writing every day. And so, like, I'll go and I'll type out, like, all these lyrics for these songs. But then the next day when I come back to work on it, I won't look at them. And I'll just try and remember. And whatever verse I wrote that stuck with me for 24 hours, I'm like, oh, that might be something, you know? And so, like, it's a process of just, like, dumping stuff out and seeing what sticks with you. Because I don't think that you can, like, reverse engineer a good song. You know, just, like, think about, like, what other people want to hear. Like, what is a hit song? And then go from there. You know, I feel like, at least my process is just, like, do it as much as I can, try as hard at it as I can, and just see what sticks. Yeah. You know?
No, that's a really cool process. And I've never even thought to, like, I don't think I have the patience to be able to say, like, I'm going to come back to this, start from scratch, like, and, you know, if it sticks with me, then, like, that's probably good. Yeah. Like, that wouldn't be my way of doing things, but it shows a lot of maturity. I think patience for you as a songwriter, man. Like,
I mean, I think it's just the only way that works. Yeah. I feel like everyone has exactly. Yep. Yeah. There's no right way to do it.
Right. Are there any like collaborations on this album that you like? Because there's a lot of pieces to this.
There's no songwriting collaboration, but the whole thing. So I'll give a little backstory on the production.
Sweet.
Like I, over COVID, like built a home studio. Kind of tried like the 3 songs that I have on Spotify now that I released like 2-3 years ago. I played every instrument. I recorded all myself. You know, I like at the time that's what I needed to do to learn about music. And so like I had these songs, and I started trying to do that again. But it just wasn't, like, it didn't sound good enough. Like, my